Okay, so we're talking about assignment 6, which is due in about 2 weeks, April 22nd, probably less than 2 weeks now. Today we're going to talk about sheet A5, the portion of that. I'll talk about A6 next time. So each student is expected to turn in a sheet for the following assignments. Sheet A5, which is building section / interior elevation, wall section in detail. And then the second sheet will be A6, doors and windows, finish schedules, and elevations. So like I said, today we're going to work on sheet A5. You should already have your floor plan, your site plan, your roof plan, and your exterior elevations. One thing that you should read, if you haven't already done so, is for this first sheet is section 6.3 in your book on page 130. And your drawings should try to look like these. And some of them don't. Just saying. The organization, the clearness, the dimensions, stuff like that. So you see the floor plans. If you scoot over to page 6.13, figure 6.13, page 138, you see a building section that shows the interior elevation. We're going to do that today. Then from that, I'll show you how you would, if you turn to page 140, you get an exterior wall section. You need to study that and all of the detail involved there and put all that on your drawings. Then from that, you'll go to a detail, which I will show you. For instance, if you look over on page 143, you have details. So you can see the level, the scale of the detail drawings, and the level of detail in the drawings, the shading of the brick, the concrete, etc. So you need to study that and try to make your drawings look as detailed and as precise as those. Plus, remember, on Canvas you have my, which I went through last time, I'm not going to go through today, but you have the St. Anthony's drawings that show a building section and then how a wall section is called out of that, and then how a detail is called out of that. So you can refer to those drawings for the scale and level of detail. Those are there for your reference. They're not just there to take up computer space. Okay, so on this, here's my floor plan, which you see here. And you should have a section mark drawn through your floor plan already. And it should show a section where you're going to see some interior detail, which this does. I'll be able to see this counter, this door, this bathroom. So you can move your section mark if it's in a boring place. And I would advise you to do so. That's okay to move it. So once you remember how you should already have that. Anybody have a question on how to put that section mark in there? Because you should already have them, so that shouldn't be an issue. So to go to that section, you can either go over here to your project browser or just click on this arrow, and it'll take you right to the section. So there you can see, because I have topography, it shows my earth. The other day I showed you how to put in a pad. Does anybody want me to re-show that?
I don't remember.
You weren't here.
Well, thanks a lot.
Okay, so if you have your topography to put in a pad, you go to the site. This is the way I do it. Here's my topography. You have to have topography to put in a pad. So once you have your topography, I usually hide the roof temporarily, hide element. So now I can see my walls, because your pad will just line up with these exterior walls. To make your pad, you would go to Massing and Site, Building Pad, right here. Then you will select the exterior walls, like that. And probably not going to let me finish it because I already have a pad there. But this is what you do. Make sure that the pink line is all around the outside of the wall, not on the inside, and then you hit the check. So I've got a double pad, but I'm going to undo that. So that's how you get the pad. Then I would reset that. I go back to my section, and there's my concrete pad. You can change that concrete pad just by editing it over here if you want to make it different, going to the structure. Right now it's 1 foot thick. So if you, a typical slab is probably, on a commercial, it's probably 6 inches. So if you wanted to do that, you could say 6 inches. Hit OK. Apply. Now it's skinnier. Now remember, when I made that, I did it, let me go back to that. If I go to the massing and site building pad, and I want to, I put my pad at minus 6 inches right here. I typed minus 6 inches so that my floor would be 6 inches above the ground. So remember to do that. You just type minus 6 inches there. So then you go back to this, and there you can see the pad. It's in blue right now. But I'll show you how to do the foundation stuff in a minute. Now, there's a way to do foundations, but we're not going to get into that level of technology here. If you want to explore that, you can. You can make your footings. I don't think it's, we'll see. I didn't show you all this the other day, but let's just see what happens. In case some of you, oops, wrong way. Hide element. So if I wanted to make, that's floor, column, wall, slab, there's a slab, floor, slab, edge. Well, I'm not going to show you that because that's just beyond. So I think you'll have enough trouble getting this done. So anyway, so there's your section. And you're cut through your roof. You can see your roof. You should be, if you have a ceiling in there, you should be able to see that. I've got my counter height. So in your building section, and you need to refer to the book and my example plans to see all the stuff you need to label. You go through, also you don't want to see the, remember over here on the crop view, if you put that visible, it'll show that square. We don't want to see that, so you uncheck that. You label all your rooms with your room tags, just like you did in the floor plans. You label your doors and your windows with your doors and window tags. You dimension vertically anything. You don't need to dimension horizontally unless you can't see it on a floor plan. This purpose of this kind of drawing is for vertical dimensions, not horizontal dimensions. So you dimension any counter heights, probably your windows, your doors. Over here you got your grab bars. You can dimension those. Your toilet height because it's ADA compliant. These are your elevation or your levels, and that will show up. You need to leave those there, and they should be labeled appropriately. So any questions on this? On making a building section. So you need to label things, you need to note it. This drawing, the building section, the wall section, the detail will all be on one sheet, and you should have keynotes relating to all these drawings, a lot of them. I want information. I want you to look at the drawings in the book and my example drawings and see what kind of things I labeled, and I want you to do the same thing, okay? And then you need your vertical dimensions. So, there's no more questions on this? Everybody knows how to do it? So Monday you'll come back and say, how do you do this?
Yep.
And I won't answer you. I'll say, watch the movie.
Are you recording?
I hope I am.
I hope so too.
Okay. So now, from this drawing, after you get that done, then you're going to make your wall section. So the way you do that, I've already made one here, but I'll show you again. As you go to architecture, you go to view up here, call out. Anytime you want to call out a new view off an existing view, you do the call out. I'm going to do this one over here, and then I'll go back to that one. But you just click, and you circle whatever it is you want to view, and there you have it. Then I'm going to go to this one because I already worked on it. You would click on the bubble to go to that drawing. There it is. You want to make sure that it's at least 1 inch equals a foot for scale. You can look at my drawings to see what those wall sections are. You want it to be big enough so you can show detail and fit on your page. So actually, I'll go back to that other one because I have to re-show how to do all this stuff. So you got this one here, and notice you have your square around it, which I don't really want to see. Oops. So I'm going to hide that, crop region visible. I'm going to uncheck that. So there, that looks normal. Now you notice, there's no footing here, and in a wall section, you usually have a footing. So the way I would do it right now, since we're not going to technically add a footing, is this way. You go to Annotate, Region, Filled Region. Now, a filled region is something that you draw, and then it will be filled in like hatching. So I have gravel here, but we're going to use concrete, which I already made the other day, didn't I? There it is. So over here you can change it. If you don't have that, you go to Edit Type, you duplicate something there, and you rename it your concrete. Then you go to you make it opaque so you can't see the lines behind it. The other option, of course, is transparent, where you can see the lines behind it, but we don't want to see the lines behind it. Then you go to the fill pattern, and you change that to concrete or whatever it is you want to make your fill pattern. And you hit OK. OK. So I'm in concrete. Now I need to draw the edge of that fill pattern. And I'm just going to use lines. It's going to extend all the way out here. I'm going to start there. I'm at the top of my slab. I'm going to go over here. Usually a footing is about 3 feet deep on a commercial structure. You go over about 1 foot. You go up maybe 2 feet. Then you do your 45 to where the bottom of the slab is. You go over here and you close it. Then you put your check mark, and there you have it, your footing. The other thing you might want to show, because we talked about this the other day, there's usually a 4-inch gravel layer right there. So that's another fill pattern you can do. You go to Region, Filled Region, select, I made one the other day called Gravel. When I made it, there wasn't like circles, so we decided to use sand for this one. So it's the same thing. You duplicate, you make a new pattern. Now I'm going to draw the edges of it, which are going to start over here. Oops. I'm going to use a line. I'm going to start over here out of the view. Go there. Go down to your bottom of your 45. Go back over here and up. Hit the check mark, and there's my gravel. And you'll label that in this detail. And then the earth is already there because that's my topography. Now the other thing about a brick wall, when you're doing these sections, another thing you want to do over here is make sure it's on fine detail so that you see everything. So when you do a brick wall, there's always a brick ledge. Remember that? So that means your footing steps down, and the way they make a brick ledge is usually putting a 2x something in the edge of the concrete when they pour it. So we're going to make another region called a masking region, which will hide stuff. And we're going to hide this portion of the footing. So we go to masking region. You don't pick a thing over there because it's always just hiding. So you're going to make a rectangle, start there, and the 2x6 is 1.5 by 5.5, roughly. So we're going to try to get as close to that right there. Now, if you hit check, you see how it masked that, but you also see all these lines. So if you don't want to see the lines, you can also adjust it just by pulling those tabs. But say I don't want to see these 2 lines here. So I'm going to I'm going to hit that. I'm going to say Edit Boundary. I'm going to hit those 2 lines right there. And I'm going to change them. Right now they're thin lines. I'm going to change them to invisible lines. Hit my check, and there. Now, I made that go a little bit too far. I'm going to take that back to there. And now, see how fat these lines are? You can change that by doing that, hitting up here. Those fat lines, thin lines, fat lines, thin lines. Okay. So now, put that back down there. So now, when you're doing this, now you want to detail your wall. So you're going to add detail components. The first thing, obviously, is going to be the brick. So you're going to go to, I think it's on Annotate, Component, right here. Repeating detail component, if something that repeats like brick, you're going to do that. My brick is already loaded, but if it wasn't there, I would go, as with any detail component, let me show you here. You go to Insert, just like everything else, Load Family, go to Detail Items. Then you have just, they're divided up as it is in the specifications. Masonry would be in Division 4. So you can look through these and see what you want. Maybe clay masonry, brick section, there it is. So you would load that if you want. Then later on we'll do some, if you want to load other things, you'll go to detail components again. Detail items mean that it's just drawn there in 2D. It's covering up what's there so that you can get more detail. So the other thing you might need is the stud work, which is under metals, structural steel framing, although what we're looking for is under cold formed metal framing. This has all your steel studs and things you need. There's a top view of a runner channel, a side view, a section which we'll use, light gauge if you need that. So you can look through all these and see what you need, and then it'll let you pick sizes, and you load those into your drawing as you need them. Okay, but how do I put that brick in? So I'm going to go back over here to Annotate, Component, Repeating Detail Component, Brick. And then you come over here, and you see how it repeats it? So you just take it up to where it's going to stop, and there you got your brick. Now, hold on. That's what I'm fixing to show you. So, edit type. Inside space, detail rotation. I did it the other day. What did I do? Let me try that one. That shows your joints, which is nice. On my other detail, those lines don't show up. What happened? See, in your detail, you can choose different kinds of joints and see which one you like. There's another one that one's not quite right. It doesn't look right. So, I mean, this is stuff you just got to play with, and it's up to you to pick something. Okay, there's how you do the repeating detail. So over here, also you want it to go down to the bottom. So you're going to pull it down there. Over here you have your stud wall. You need to look at your wall and see what it's made of. You're going to have a runner channel on the bottom, and I believe that's already loaded. So we go here, detail component, and you can either go through your you're going to find your runner channel. So ours is, I think it was a 6-inch wall. You're going to put that down here. Then you're going to add your sheetrock component, detail item. Remember, you'll have to load it if you don't already have it in there. We've got gypsum wallboard, 5/8-inch type X. So you load that, and then you put it at the bottom, and you take it all the way to the top. So there's that detail component. This side is plywood. So you go to component, detail component. You'll load the plywood if it's not in there. Under wood, this is going to be 5/8-inch plywood. I'm going to put it on this side of this stud. If it comes on the wrong side like that's doing, you hit the space bar and flip it to the other side. That'll go all the way up to the top of the wall, like that. And if you zoom in close to it, you can see the plywood. Once you have all your wall stuff figured out, then you can hide that wall, and only your detail components will show. And if you hit the fat lines, thin lines, you can see what will be heavy. Now sometimes these things never do show up exactly right, so sometimes I go in, if I want that to be heavy, because I want to be able to see it in my drawing, I'll hit it. I'll say override graphics and view by category, projection lines, surface patterns, surface transparency, probably projection lines. I'll say weight, and I'll make it a heavier weight until I think it looks right. And then you go up here. That didn't do much difference, but that's how you change that stuff. Because it's just like doing AutoCAD. You got to play with the line weights. Then you're going to have some insulation. I didn't show you this the other day, but that's right there. You make its width right here. Our wall is 6-inch stud, so we're going to say that that's 5.5 inches. Come over here to the middle, and you just go up until the top. And there's your insulation. So now you got your wall, and then you'll dimension and label all of this stuff accordingly. I'll go back to my other one over here. You should try to cut through a window so that you can have a little interest and make an interesting detail. But see, I didn't put the insulation in here the other day. I'll do that right now. Just go up. You'll stop at your window, obviously, and then you'll start at the top of your window and go up to the top. So I've got my wall section. I've got these. If you don't like these on this side, what you do, because normally you want these labels on the outside. So for this detail, I'm going to check the box over here and uncheck this one, and that switches it. And you can do the same thing up here so that they'll be on the outside. Then you can make vertical dimensions to your window sill, your window height, etc. All this should be dimensioned. So any questions on the wall section? Everybody knows how to do a wall section. Okay, so from that, you'll go to your detail drawing that's required. So just like for the wall section, you're going to go to View, Call Out. And you're going to circle whatever it is you want to detail. So I'm going to do a new one here for the head. Voila. And when you place them on the sheets, they'll get the numbers. So then you go to that detail that you've created, and you change the scale first thing. You want to make it at least 1.5 inches equals a foot. Then you do the same thing all over again, adding your detail components to fill in this, and then you label it, because you can get more detail in this than you can in the other one. And you want to dimension it where necessary, showing, like how big this is. You know how to dimension. You just go from, if it's not grabbing what you want, there it did. It's got a 3.5-inch thing. Remember to try to align your dimensions all in one spot. Makes it easier to read. If you're going to do keynotes, you go to Annotate, or you will do keynotes. User keynote, and then you sort of start at the top. Think about your organization. You go over here, and you'll hit cancel, and then you'll hit that, and you'll assign your key value there, and then you'll make your list. But say you're going to do another keynote, then you're going to do something over here. Keynote user, so you're going to be organized. Then you'll come over here, and you see that little blue line? You hit that, and then you come over here to where it locks to that for your next one. So they're all up and down, nice and neat looking, not just like, over here, over there, everywhere. All on one side, nice and neat. That's the best way to do it. So, any questions on the detail drawing? No? Okay. So, now those are the three main drawings that are going to go on this sheet A5. So, you create your sheet A5, which we did the other day, and you call it Building Section, Interior Elevation, Wall Section, and Detail. I'm going to delete these so you can see me drag them over there. Also, that name is pretty long, so you may want to abbreviate it so it all fits in this box. So my sheet is blank, and I want my building section, my exterior wall section, and my detail. So it seems like the biggest drawing is going to be the building section, which will be over here under sections. And I think I called it the longitudinal section. You just drag it over here and put it on your drawing. Then I want to put my wall section on there, which I labeled the other day as wall section. So I'm going to drag it and put it right there. Then I got my windowsill, which I did the other day. I'm going to drag it and put it over here. So now, normally you want your numbers of your details on your drawings, just like a book, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, left to right, 7, 8, 9. So when you put things on the drawing, it will number them in the order you put them on there. So now this one is number 1, this one is number 2, this one is number 3. However, this one's the furthermost to the left, so I really want it to be number 1. So you can either take them all off and do it over again, or you can just say, rename that detail number. I have to change it to something higher for a minute so I can make this one number 1, because it won't let you do two number 1s. So I'm going to make that one number 1, and I'll go back over here and make that one number 2, and then this one is already number 3. So you do all that dimensioning and other stuff, when you're working on it. Then you drag it over here. It's already all there. It fills in these numbers. See right there? Once you put it on there, then you're going to do your notes and keynotes somewhere over here. You'll put your list of notes and keynotes. And then that's all you need for this drawing. Any questions? Is he asleep?
No.
Okay, well that's the end. So just to reiterate, this is due on April 22nd, which is, today's the 10th, so you got a week and a half. And we'll go over the next drawing next week. I'll do that on Tuesday, so that those that are ready can get started on it. Okay? Also, while I've got your attention, remember that the final for this class is correcting all of these plans that I've been giving back to you. So I hope you're not losing your red lines, because what I'm going to do is compare what I told you to correct and to see if you did it. And if you didn't, that's points off a final grade, a final exam grade. Okay? So I hope you're not, and you're after this assignment, we're going to have a SketchUp assignment, and then you'll have about a week into, and then whenever our final exam is when this will be due. And you can certainly ask me questions if you don't understand my correction marks and stuff like that. But it's important that you understand them and implement them, or it'll take off on your final exam grade. Okay? That's all. Let's hope this recorded.